Last week, I posted a video covering off all of the new scout weapons added to Battlefield 1. Now, I recommended you try all of them, and the pick of the bunch had to be the M1917 Enfield Silenced. It's only the second silenced weapon to come to Battlefield 1 multiplayer. Now, in this video, it's the turn of the new assault weapons. 4 brand new variants, and 1 brand totally new weapon as well. And best of all, they're free to every single player of Battlefield 1. The fact that all of these new weapons and variants are free for everyone is great news. If players out there still haven't purchased DLC for the game or they don't have a premium pass, then they're getting access to 4 new weapon variants for Assault DLC weapons, giving them 4 actual new weapons to play with because they didn't have access to them before this update, and of course a totally separate weapon as well, the Annihilator Trench. Now, for players that do have the DLCs or a premium pass, you get 4 new variants for weapons you already own, specialised to do different things, and the Trench Annihilator 2. So, let's get into this, let's figure out if any of these new assault weapons are really worth your time. First on the list, I'm going to go straight for the brand new weapon, the Annihilator Trench. Anyone can get access to this. Now, it's locked behind an assignment, although it shouldn't take you that long to complete. You need to net 100 kills using Assault Class primary weapons, and 25 kills with Assault Class secondary weapons. So that's 125 kills in total, about 4 or 5 games of Conquest, or you can make things a little bit easier, fire up a small game mode like Domination, and net some of those secondary kills without being outgunned or focused on by too many other players. Now, the Annihilator is one of the fast-firing, run-and-gun, hip-fire beasts of Battlefield 1. It's a weapon type that we've all come to know and love, or hate is the case for some people, and I'm looking at you, Mr. Automatico, for making that happen. The Annihilator isn't too dissimilar to the Automatico Trench, actually, especially when you dive into some of its statistics. The Automatico does win at rate of fire, ammo capacity and magazines, and does have a slightly higher minimum damage value, but you do have to deal with that ridiculous vertical magazine design that does cloud your view sometimes. Of course, using the weapon as a hip-fire machine, it really shouldn't be too much of an issue, it shouldn't get in your way all of the time, but the Annihilator doesn't have that problem at all. The magazine feeds the weapon from the bottom. The Annihilator is 100% geared towards hipfire and doesn't give you much help anywhere else. The iron sights aren't great, and the recoil is so erratic that you're likely to struggle to keep your target in view if you choose to aim down the sights. Keep this thing within 10 or 12 meters, hipfire only, and it's a great weapon for destroying enemies. You do have to watch out for the reload though, I will say that. Only 20 rounds in a magazine, you're going to find it hard to take down more than 2 players at a maximum before needing to find a place and reload safely. And the reload isn't the shortest in the world, so make sure you are safe before you give it a go. But totally get this weapon unlocked and give it a go. If you like the Automatico, you're going to like the Annihilator Trench, and to be fair, the Annihilator right now doesn't have the bad stigma about it that the Automatico does, so if you're using it, you might not get hated on in the in-game chat so much. Moving on to the new variants now, weapon number 2 is the Ribault 1918 Optical variant. This, in my opinion, is a straight upgrade from the factory variant that came with the French DLC because of the inclusion of a lens sight. This gives you increased accuracy over the iron sight's factory variant and gives the weapon a little bit more versatility as well. The lens sight gives its biggest accuracy bonus whilst aiming down sights and not moving, and that's an area where the factory variant isn't as great as other assault weapons, so having that function is now quite a nice touch. The Ribault is a carbine, not an SMG, so you do get greater accuracy during sustained fire, although you'll still have to contend with recoil and bullet spread the longer you hold down the fire button and keep that burst going. One thing that really did surprise me with the Optical variant is the inclusion of a bipod. That's a feature that the factory variant introduced with the French DLC. I felt for sure that DICE would remove that bipod from the Optical variant as a counter to the improved sight options and giving it an accuracy boost. But now you can prone down and get this thing firing from a bipod, and the weapon can be scarily accurate at long range. Of course, you do have quite a severe bullet drop-off, so you're not going to be doing a lot of damage outside mid-range really, but I'd say it's still a very good assault weapon. It's very versatile in many ways, but overall, it just gives you more control than the factory variant. You should totally give this one a try. No unlock requirements for any of these variants, so you can literally go in and start using it. You really have no excuse not to. Next up, we have the Sjogrens inertial slug. This takes the factory variant of the weapon that was introduced with the French DLC, it removes the buckshot shells and replaces them with actual projectiles. This gives you greater long-range potential at the expense of the raw power that a buckshot shell can deliver at close range. I'd say it's rather an odd choice, this one. The Sjogrens is a semi-auto shotgun, not a pump shotgun. This means DICE has kept the damage at a fairly mediocre level because it can fire a lot faster than other shotguns in an attempt to keep it balanced. Now, the Model 10A slug, that features a much higher maximum damage value, but because it fires much slower, the shots from it need to be more deadly to make it a viable choice. Semi-auto and slugs, I'm not sure if they really go together. Also included is a lens sight, which can be set at a maximum 2x magnification. That will help you stay on target at range, but honestly, I'm not 100% sure why DICE decided to go down this route with this shotgun. It's just not a natural variant to add, and it's not one that I'd really look to use. The Sjogrens being a semi-auto shotgun, you kind of expect to use it at extreme close and close range, but with slugs instead of buckshot, you're kind of wanting to use it at medium to long range, but it doesn't have the power to compete with other slug shotguns. So it's kind of this, like, shotgun hybrid thing that DICE has created. I don't really think it does anything particularly well, and it doesn't do anything particularly bad, so it's kind of just floating in the middle a little bit. I found that if you want to use a slug shotgun, Model 10A slug, or the 1900 slug can be really fun to use, but I'd still suggest the Model 10A slug if you want to use it. If you want my opinion, just steer clear of this new variant. The penultimate variant now, this is the Machine Pistol M1912 P16 Experimental. It's going to have the award for the longest named weapon in Battlefield 1. I quite like it though, I did have fun using this. DICE has chosen to add a new trigger group to this weapon, taking away its fully automatic fire option and replacing it with a 2-round burst. Now, on the face of it, that sounds a little bit like a nerf to the weapon, but in practice I found it to be just as interesting and as fun to use as the Storm variant that we got in the Turning Tides DLC. The fully auto variant suffered quite severely outside of extreme close range, as you'd expect. A 900 round rate of fire automatic pistol with just 16 bullets held within an internal magazine doesn't allow you to do much more than kill one player and then reload. The experimental variant gives you an increased theoretical 1200 round a minute rate of fire. Theoretical because you'd have to be superhuman to burst this thing correctly without a delay, but you retain that 16 round magazine capacity. Why is this then better than the fully auto version? Well, because you only fire 2 rounds per burst and then the weapon stops firing until you ask it to fire again, you're not spraying and praying that you kill somebody. I think you have better accuracy potential. After the 2 rounds fire, the weapon starts to reset in recoil and spread, meaning the next burst isn't affected as much. Firing fully auto with the Storm variant gives you just insane recoil and spread after just the first few bullets, but here with the experimental, I think you get more control. Now the experimental also adds a lens sight as well, allowing you to keep your eyes on the target more effectively as you burst it. I really like this new variant, and it allows you to use it outside of extreme close range, and that was really limiting for the Storm variant. You are still severely limited compared to even an SMG, which does have some range ability, but if you want a totally different weapon experience in the Assault class, then this is the new variant you should try. And lastly, we have the M1917 Patrol Carbine. This is a scoped variant of the Trench Carbine, also added with the Turning Tides DLC. This has a telescopic sight on it, which can be zoomed all the way to 4 times magnification, giving the weapon more range potential and an aimed accuracy bonus. Now, it comes at the cost of hipfire accuracy, which was arguably one of the best use cases for the Trench variant. And with such a severe drop-off in the damage, I don't really think it's worth using this one. This does give the Assault class its first properly scoped weapon, but I'd argue it's more of a token gesture than a usable variant. You'd be better off switching and moving over to the Medic class and using a semi-auto rifle. You have far greater damage potential with one of those. So, of the group of 5 new assault weapons added to Battlefield 1, I'd recommend going straight in and trying 3 of them, and leaving the other 2 for later to see if you like them. I recommended all 4 of the new Scout weapons, so I'd say then that the Scout class definitely got the better end of the deal, although you can't really argue that getting 9 new primary weapon options in total is great for every single Battlefield 1 player. Let me know what you think of the new assault weapons down below in the comments. I'm sure some of you out there will have very different opinions from my own. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.